What is happening, my fellow lovers of shiny metals? Today I have the absolute pleasure of reviewing for you all the PMV Investor by Sigma Analytics. So with that being the case, without any further delay, let's get on with the show. Okay, so we'll start off by having a quick look at what items are included in the package. So to start off with, you get this really funky and handy carry case with a great handle right there. The machine fits perfectly and snugly into here, and this is perfect if you were ever going to try and take the machine to a coin fair or a dealer's or anywhere like that. It really is super lightweight and portable, so you can take it anywhere to test your metals when you're out and about. Next up, we have the actual machine itself, and this is the PMV Investor model. Now, Sigma do 3 different models as of yet. They have the original, the Investor and the Pro, and I believe there's also going to be a Pro Mini available very soon. But this right here is the PMV Investor, so we'll pop that right there ready to get testing. And then finally in the package we have 3 super handy little wands, and these are for testing the metals as well. So this one right here is the small wand. You also have the large wand. The small wand is designed for testing those really tiny little pieces such as 1 gram bars, 1/10 coins, old threepenny bits, that kind of thing. So that's the small wand right there. And as I say, you've also got the large wand. That's designed for testing larger pieces from around 1/4 of an ounce up to about 1 ounce in weight. And then finally you have the brand new bullion wand, and this one penetrates a little bit deeper than the other ones. The other ones are designed to test for metal just underneath the surface, but the bullion has the mighty penetration power to test 2 millimeters down into your metals. And that might not sound a lot, but I can promise you when it comes to testing metals, that is actually quite a significant amount of penetration. And that's one of the reasons why I contacted 𝗕𝘂𝘀𝑇𝑦 Metrics to request one of their machines to review, because I love the way that it has that additional penetration power compared to other machines that are on the market. But with that being the case, let's get on to the actual review. Okay, so if I swap us over into top-down view, the first thing you'll need to do is power on the machine. You do that by clicking the button right there and giving it a moment to load up, calibrate itself and get itself ready to go. Now, the machine will automatically calibrate every time you turn it on, but if you are using it for a prolonged period of times, say over half an hour or so, it is recommended to recalibrate the machine every 30 minutes or so. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. But let's go through the features. So the machine tests by using electrical magnetic frequencies, which it shoots through the metal, and it's reading the response it gets from different types of metals. Now, every single substance on the planet has its unique chemical makeup. It has a unique density and a unique mass, which gives it a unique resonant frequency. And it's that kind of frequency that this machine looks to read. But it's not only that, because it works in 2 different ways. If you click on number 6 right there, you'll see yourself in the setup menu right there, and as you can see, we've got weight mode on and off. We've got display. Now this is what I'm getting at, because it tests both the resistance and the conductivity. So if you wanted to swap it from resistance to conductivity, all you do is press the right arrow there again, just like I'm still on weight mode there, look, but click down onto display and then you can go on to conductivity or resistance mode. We're going to keep it in resistance mode today, but that's just to let you know how you can swap over between the 2 if you're wanting to do so. And then you've got the backlight, so you can have that on high or low, and then you've got the timeout selection right there. So do you want it to time out after 5, 10 or 30 minutes of not being used? We'll keep it on 5 minutes because I'm not going to be using it for a prolonged period of times right now. But if we come out of there by clicking 5 again, you'll see that that takes us onto the main menu. Now this has got copper at the moment. The machine will test all different types of metals, and to select the type of metal you're wanting to test, all you have to do is just click on the metals button right there, and it will give you a number of different menus. So right here we've got select other, but if I click across to the left, you see at the beginning you have gold, and then you move over to the silver, and then you can move over to other metals such as platinum, palladium, rhodium, calibrator, rhodium for PAMP, etc., copper, as you can see right there. Go over across again, and then it's got specific kinds of different coins. And if you go over, no, that's it. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go over to silver, And we'll start off by taking a look at some 925 sterling silver pieces. So select 925, and as you can see there on the top of the screen, it says silver 925% sterling ready place sample. So what you need to do right there is just get yourself your first sample, and for me, we've got a few old crowns to test. Right here we have an 1893 silver crown issued under the reign of Queen Victoria, as you can see right there. So this should be 925 sterling silver, and if I press down the onboard sensor just like that and give it a moment to wait, you can see that it jumps across. Give it a moment to settle, but you can see that it's there in the green telling me that this is 925 sterling silver. Now I will say, one piece of advice that you need to take into account is be careful where you use the machine. Because of the way that it tests the metals, it can be subjective to outside interference such as modem routers, things like that. Now, at the moment, I've got Bluetooth light bulbs and a wireless mic on, so that may cause a little bit of interference on the readings. But as you can see on that last one, we got a perfectly good reading in the green, showing us that it is definitely 925 sterling silver. Right, the next up is a 1894, so the same again. We should see that this tests in the green for sterling silver, and I'll pop that down, give it a moment to wait, and there we go. It is in the green, and it's moving around a little bit, but as I say, I am using a wireless microphone to record the video today, which isn't perfect, and if I was using the machine normally, I wouldn't have that on. I would be using it in an area without any outside interference whatsoever. So we'll do one more, which is this extra fine 1887 silver crown right there. This was for the Jubilee era of Queen Victoria, and once again, if we pop that under and place down the onboard sensor, we will see that it goes into the green right there. It is moving again due to the interference, but we can see that we are getting a good reading in the green. Now, as I said previously, it does come with some wands, and if I plug in one of the ones, we'll see that it goes onto the calibration screen, and then if you get your sample, once again, we'll pop that just there, get your wand and pop that on the sample, and as you can see right there in the green, and we've got a much more steady and stable reading from the wand right there. So that's how you use the wands. It's really easy. You just plug them into the side of the machine, give it a moment to calibrate, and that will allow you to test your metals without having to place them on the machine. So far so good. The three silver crowns, I've done all right. My purchases were wise on the silver crowns, but we'll move on. So to do that, you click on the metals, and we're going to be going on to bullion right now. So go on to pure, and then the first piece I have right here is a brand new Dragon Master coin, which has literally just come within the last few days. So I haven't had a chance to check this myself as of yet. So take it out of the cardboard. In fact, just to show you how good the machine is at penetrating, I'm not going to take it out of the cardboard. I'm going to leave it in the package, press down on the onboard sensor, and as you can see, it goes straight into the green. It's moving a little bit, but that does give us a good reading right there. Now, if I take it out of the cardboard and place it back on there, I think we'll get a little better reading. There you go, straight into the green, and it's looking good. Now, another thing to watch out for is if you've got raised edges on the coin, it can make it a little bit difficult for the sensor to pick things up. So if I turn it over and plop it back on the onboard sensor, right there, you can see that we're getting a good reading. It's going in the green, pretty much staying in the green. It's popping into the yellow a little bit, but again, I think that's down to the interference. And if I pop the wand in right there and use the wand to test the item, you can see bang there in the green, and absolutely fine. So we'll move on. The next up is a Dragon Bar from the PMV Mint. That looks like the 2024 Dragon Bar right there. So once again, pop it under the sensor, hold the sensor down. Now, if you didn't want to hold it down, it does come with this little thing right here, and all you do is you just pop that in there, and that will hold the sensor down just like that. And as you can see, we are pretty much in the green. It is moving around a little bit. Again, I put that down to the interference I'm getting from my wireless microphone, because when I'm using it and I'm not filming, it's not moving around that much. It does move a little tiny amount, but certainly not as much as we're seeing right here. So if I take that out from under the onboard sensor once again and pop it under the wand right there, you can see that we've got a really fantastic stable reading in the green, showing me that once again, great pickup, and it is what it's supposed to be. So we've got one more piece of bullion right here, which is this silverback gorilla round right there. 1 ounce 999 fine silver. So once again, pop that under the onboard sensor, pop the little thing green right there, and we can see that it's hovering, it's in the green, it is hovering slightly to the yellow, but that is absolutely fine to me. And once again, if you take it from underneath the onboard sensor, pop it under the wand, really, really good stable reading in the green white right there. So far so good. It's really daunting when you actually get to test your pieces under a machine like this, because you never do know. I mean, I'm fairly confident with all my silver, but you never do know. So it's great to see they are coming up great. So next up, we've done some old 925, but what I have right here are some of the silver proofs I've been selling in my Whatnot auctions on a Monday night. They're absolutely beautiful coins. They're a more modern silver proof, and these are from 1997, and these are once again 925 sterling silver. So once again, go onto the machine, you're looking for 925 sterling silver, select that, pop it under the sensor, and give it a moment, and there we go. So yes, we can see it's in the green. We are getting a little bit of interference once again, but if I take that out and pop it under the wand, we can see that it's absolutely definitely what it's supposed to be. So we'll pop that with the other 925s right there. Move on to the next one, pop that down and wait for the reading. And once again, there we are in the green, absolutely fantastic. And if I was to get that under the wand again, there you go, absolutely brilliant. One last one for the 925, if we pop that under there. There we go. A little bit of movement. As I say, we've got some interference through the wireless microphone and the Bluetooth light bulbs, but that's looking pretty good to me. And again, if I wanted to double check it, I would just take it and put it under the wand, and there you are, smack bang in the middle of the green, and exactly where it's supposed to be. Right, so next up, we're going to be looking at a few more different types of composition of silver. So first up, we're going to be, if we go into metals, we'll start off with 90% silver coins that were issued after 1945. And I've enlisted the help of a 1951 American cracked Liberty Bell Benjamin Franklin $half for this one right here, because this is a 90% coin and it was minted after 1945. So pop that under the onboard sensor, hold down the sensor just like that. And as you can see, absolutely fantastic reading on that. It's pretty much staying in the green all the time. But if I did want to, I could take that out, once again, pop it under the wand, and I've got a fantastic reading right there. Okay, so let's move on, and we'll go down the list, and we'll go to 90%. But this is 90% silver that was issued before 1900. And to help us test that, we've got this absolutely stunning 1890 Mexican 8 reales. It's the original Libertad. It really is, because on the other side right here, we can see on the red cap, which was worn by the workers in the area, you can see it says Libertad across there. It's a beautiful coin and I absolutely love it. But let's find out if I've done well when I picked it up, or have I had the wool pulled over my eyes. Let's find out. If I press down on the thing, on the sensor, and as you can see right there, it's going right into the green and staying in the green, which is absolutely fantastic. A little bit of movement out there. Again, we do have interference, guys, but if I wanted to double check, I would literally just pop it under one just like that. And as you can see, a fantastically stable reading on that one right there. So back onto metals, and we'll go down and we'll have a look at 90% silver that was minted between 1900 and 1945. So I've got a couple of coins right here. We've got a Morgan, and we've got a peace dollar. Both of them minted between 1900 and 1945. We've got 23 on the peace dollar and 21 on the Morgan. So we'll start off with the Morgan, pop that under the onboard sensor, put its little widget in there to hold it in place, and give it a moment, and there we go. There we go. We can see we've got quite a bit of interference on this one, unfortunately. But if I take it out of that, and I pop it under the wand. Fantastic reading, really, really stable right there. The ones seem to not be as affected by interference as much as the onboard sensor is. I'm not sure why that is, but if you are in an area and you are getting interference like I am doing a little bit today, the ones are fantastic to get that really stable reading right there. But we'll try the 𝗕𝗂𝘀𝗀𝗃, and we'll pop that under, hold it down, again, pop its little thing in there, and we're getting a really good reading on that one. In the green, it's moving about a bit. Again, we've got some interference, unfortunately, but if we take that out and pop it under the wand, just to make sure, a fantastic reading once again on that as well. I will point out that pretty much all of these pieces have been tested under other means as well, so I was fairly confident they were legitimate before we tested them today, but it's great to see the results we're getting today. Now, one more to show you. So if we go back in metals, and we go over to the select coins. Now, if you've got some Canadian silver, you can see you're all right because we've got silver, 80% Canadian silver right there. And right here, we've got a Canadian dollar. This is a 1963 Voyager dollar right there. And if we put it under the onboard sensor, in fact, I've not clicked metal yet to put us back onto the sensor screen. So now if we press down on the sensor, pop its little widget in there, we can see that we're getting a fantastic reading in the green. A little bit of interference once again, but it's showing us a fantastic reading in the green right there. And once again, to back that up, if we pop it under the wand, we're getting a beautifully stable reading in the green. Right, so let's have a look at copper. So if you wanted to test copper, again, you'd go into the metals, and then you would click across onto the select other screen, find where it says copper, press metals again, place the round under the onboard sensor, pop the little widget in its place, and give that a moment, and we can see once again we're getting a fantastic reading in the green. And if I was to double check that with the wand, again, a wonderful reading in the green. So fantastic work so far. I've also got a couple of pieces of gold right here to test. So we've got two sovereigns. Now I've deliberately picked these ones because we've got a modern sovereign from 2023 right there. And we've also got a historic sovereign from 1872 right here, one of the 𝗃𝗵𝗿𝗃 shield backs. So I wanted to test both modern and historic gold just to put the machine through its paces. But if we go back into here and we go into gold, and then we go down in gold, I do believe there's a sovereign in here. No, I do apologize. So for sovereign, all I need to do is go over to the select coins, go all the way to the top where we had gold sovereign, click OK, and then we'll put the first one underneath the onboard sensor, give it a moment, and let it settle. There we go, we're in the green. There we go. As I say, we're getting a little bit of interference. Another thing I've noticed as well, now you are perfectly okay to test coins in the capsule, but sometimes the coins can be quite thin, just like this sovereign. So there's a little bit of a gap between the capsule and the actual metal of the coin itself. So what I've noticed is if you are getting a little bit of an issue right there, if you take the capsule off, you can get a little bit more of a steady reading. And as you can see, we are in the green, perfectly right there. So if we take the widget out, take the coin back out, and then obviously once again what we can do is we can use the wand just to double check that, and we can see we are in the green right there, which is absolutely fantastic. So that's that sovereign sorted, which came to me from my good friend 𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃. So thank you very much for sending me across a genuine sovereign glyph. I do appreciate it, brother. And next up we're going to test the shield back sovereign right there. So once again, we pop that under the onboard sensor, pop the widget in its place, and as you can see, we're getting a fantastic reading in the green right there. Once again though, if we did take it out and pop it under the wand, we can see we're getting a really, really stable reading in the green right there, which is absolutely fantastic. Now, I'm really glad to hear that, because obviously the two sovereigns are by far the most expensive coins in this selection right here. In fact, another reason why I selected two sovereigns is because had these two sovereigns had come back as being fake, I would have lost nearly or just about the same amount of money as it would have cost to purchase one of these machines. So it goes to show you just how quickly the machine can pay itself off, especially if you are investing in gold. But if you have a silver stack and you've got quite a large stack and you're into the hundreds/thousands of ounces, I highly recommend getting one of these machines just to make sure that everything you own is what it's supposed to be. So just a couple of things left to go through now, and that is what happens if you get a coin which is giving you a reading which you're not particularly happy with. So I have right here an 1819 Georgian crown. It's the second year of issue under the standardised crowns. So if I pop that, in fact, if we go into metals first, before I forget, go over and select 925 sterling silver, pop down the onboard sensor, put the widget in place, and as you can see, that's actually coming up as in the red. It's just in the red, but it's in the red. So I would be a little bit worried if that was the case. So what you can do then is if you take the widget out, and if I put it under the wand, you can see, yeah, it's just over there in the red on the right hand side. So what you want to do then is you want to test the item through other means as well. And as you can see on screen right here, I have tested using a ping test and it did come back perfectly through the ping test. What you can also do is get a magnet, and you can do a magnet test, and as you can see right there, it absolutely does pass a magnet test. I've also weighed the coin as well, and it did pass a weight test. But one of the fantastic features about this machine is it doesn't only use the sensor to test your metals, because what you can also do is a specific gravity test. Now, what you want to do in that instance is, first of all, you need to select the weight, and there's numerous ways of putting the weight in. As you can see, you've got metric units, English units, but I like to use this, which is where you can put in the weight yourself specifically. So as you can see, we're on metric units right here because I'm doing it in grams. So we want to go down to total weight, and then you want to pop in, or press 5 first of all, and that will give you the entry screen right there. And then I want to pop in 28.3, which is the total weight of these items when they're issued. In fact, this has lost a little bit of weight due to wear on the coin, but it was close enough when I weighed it that it did pass the test. So pop in the weight of the piece right there, then click on weight. As you can see, done is weight there. So click on done, and then click weight again, and it will put you back onto this screen. So then what you want to do, pop the coin back under the sensor, pop the widget in place, let it do its little thing. Now, what the machine is doing right now is based on the weight of the coin, it is calculating the specific gravity. So it's measuring the depth of the coin between the two sensors, and it's using that and the weight of the coin to determine what size the coin should be. As I said earlier in the video, all materials on the planet have a specific density. So if you know 2 of the dimensions, you can always work out the third, because it will have to conform to the other dimensions. So if you know the length, width and breadth, then you can use those to determine the weight. If you know the weight, the length and the width, that will tell you the breadth, etc, etc. So it's using a few different key data points to work out the specific gravity of the coin. And the way we use that to test the coin is, as you can see right there, it says DIM, which stands for dimensions. So if I click on measurement and you select round, it gives you a little square right here. So now I can take it out of the sensor, and just here on the right hand side there is a black line. You may not be able to see it on screen, but there is a black line that you can clearly see if you're looking at the machine yourself, and there's also another black line right here within a thicker green line. So what you want to do is you want to get your piece so it lines up perfectly with the black line on the right, and then use the line on the left to determine whether or not it passes the test. And as you can see right here, it passes the test absolutely perfectly. So despite the fact that it did initially fail on the sensor, we've used a magnet, we've used weight, now we've used specific gravity to test the item. So I am more than confident that it is a genuine 1819 crown. But what could be going wrong to cause the sensor to not be able to pick that up? And in my opinion, it's quite a clear answer really. You've got to understand that this coin is 206 years old, and that is a very long time. When these coins were being manufactured, you didn't have the modern day refining techniques, and also you have no way of knowing what other metals were put into the alloy when it was minted. So that kind of thing can affect the actual sensor reading, purely because, you know, it's not quite as refined as it is today. So the machine's really working a little bit too well. But one good thing you can do, and what I've noticed, is if you go onto pre-1900 90% silver, you pop it under there, you pop the arm right down, and there you can see it's right in the green. So what that actually tells me is, yes, it is definitely a silver coin, but I'm right in saying that, you know, the alloy mix, when it was originally produced, wasn't perfect. They didn't have the ability to mix the alloys as well as we can do today. That's one of the reasons why you get copper spot on gold coins, because of a concentration of copper in the alloy. And it can happen on silver as well. You know, you've got areas that will have slightly more silver and you'll have areas that are slightly less silver. So what's happened here, in my opinion, is when it was first manufactured, the mix wasn't 100% perfect, and so although we can see it is a silver coin, it's probably not quite 925%, which is what it should be. But again, that does not mean that the piece is fake. It is absolutely a genuine piece, and we've seen that by following not only the sensor test, but using the other tests. It's important to remember that the Sigma is a tool in your arsenal. It is not your complete arsenal. And as fantastic as it is, you know, sometimes you do need to use other tests just to be that 100% confident. Most of the time, as we saw today, it's absolutely fine. You can test your metals really quickly just by swapping them over, putting them under the arm, putting it down, moving on to the next one. Now, you don't need to worry about the weight if all you're doing is using the sensor, because putting in the weight into the machine will not affect the reading you get from the sensor. So it's not until you need to start doing the specific gravity test that you need to actually start putting the item weight in. So if it comes through on the sensor test, fine. If it's in the green, there's no problem. Just move on to the next one. But when you start seeing it in the yellow or the red, that's when you want to start putting the item weight in and starting to look at the specific gravity test through the measurement button right there, as we just saw. One last little thing to go through is the fact that not all silver bars are the same size, and that's evidenced by this bar right here, which is a tri-ounce, just the same as the Dragon bar, but as you can see, very, very different size. So what you can do with these, and what I would say is you can absolutely test through the capsule, but if you're doing the specific gravity test, I would recommend to remove it from the capsule, just so there's no gap between the metals and the sensors, etc. It may not make a difference, but I just like to feel as though it's getting the best possible reading. So once again, we pop the onboard sensor down with the wedget on there. Sorry, I've left it on 90% silver. So if we go back into pure silver right there and pop the bridge down and place it in, we can see it's coming through absolutely perfectly. So on this one, I wouldn't necessarily worry about putting in the weight. As you can see, we've got an incorrect weight here, but it doesn't matter because we've got a green reading, because the sensor is testing the frequency of the metal, and it's doing that between the two sensors. I do believe the fantastic thing on this is it will test throughout the whole metal, and that's evidenced by this little icon right here, which shows you can see the arrow is going through the little green disc, and that's showing you that it's penetrating through the whole piece. Now, just very quickly, if I was to pop it under the wand, you can see that you've got the surface verification icon there instead, and once again under the bridge, or sorry, the onboard sensor. I keep calling it the bridge. The bridge is something completely different, right? It comes with the Pro model. This is the onboard sensor. But if I pop it under the onboard sensor again, now let's imagine, for argument's sake, this was coming up really towards the right or a little bit on the left over here. As you can see, you've got a lot more leeway on the right. One of the reasons that Sigma put such a large yellow area in there is that's for 999 silver. Now, the machine is designed to pick up 49 silver. So 49 silver will very happily sit in the green. 39s might go over to the yellow. And one of the reasons Sigma do that is 39s is much more commonly faked than 4 nines. So they want you to be extra vigilant with your metals. They want you to not only rely on the sensor test and know that sometimes you do have to do other tests as well, which I think is absolutely fantastic of Sigma to do that. So that's the reason why there's such a wide yellow bracket right there. But as you can see, we're in the green on this one, so that won't be an issue. But let's just say for a moment that you were getting a reading you weren't particularly happy about, one that was all the way over here on the right or over here on the left in the red, and you wanted to complete a specific gravity test. The way you do that is, first of all, you need to ensure that you do have the correct item weight inserted to complete the specific gravity test. So as I showed you earlier, go into the weights, go down to the total weight, click on 5 to enter, and then because this is a 1 troy ounce piece, I want to put in 31.1 grams. Go back over to the weight button, click done, and then click the weight button again. And as we can now see at the bottom of the screen, we have the correct item weight of 31.1 grams inputted onto the machine. It's got the precious metal weight and the total weight showing 31.10 grams, and that's because this is fine silver. So next up, just pop the onboard sensor back onto the piece just like that. Give it a moment, and once again, we'll see the dimensions button come up right there. Click on measure, and then this time you want to select rectangular, and then click on OK. Now, what you'll see is you'll have the box here, just like with the rounds, for you to test the specific dimensions. So if we pop that in, we can see that is actually pretty good right there. It's a little off, as you can see. So what we do is we want to click on the 4, and then you want to make sure it's exactly the right length between the 2 black lines, and then as you can see, absolutely perfectly fits between the top and bottom line as well. As you just saw there, the 2 buttons you need are 4 and 6. If you click on the 6 button, it will make it shorter and wider, and if you click on the 4 button, it'll make it longer and narrower. So based on the size of a bar, that's how you would check that. So there we are, guys. That is the Sigma PMV Investor. A fantastic piece of kit. I'm so grateful to 𝗕𝘂𝘺𝗵𝗿 for allowing me to get my hands on this and have a good play around with it and just see exactly how it works, just so we can share it with you guys as well. But I highly recommend, if you're able to do so, that you look into getting one of the Sigma models, whether it be the Investor or the Pro, because as we've seen today, they are fantastically wonderful pieces of kit that really can take the stress and worry out of stacking, especially if you're stacking gold. It will not take long at all for the machine to pay itself off if you're purchasing gold, just by having that security and peace of mind. I personally know of stories where people have been going to the same dealer their whole lives, investing in sovereigns. They've had hundreds and thousands of pounds worth of sovereigns, to only later down the line come to find out and realise that every single piece they've ever bought has turned out to be fake. And it's a truly devastating tale. It punches me in the gut, it really does, when I hear about things like that. But with a machine like this, you can remove literally all of that doubt and know what you're spending your money on is what you're supposed to be spending your money on. Now, another thing is, guys, 𝗕𝘂𝘺𝗵𝗿 have allowed me to keep the machine for a little period of time. I will have to send it back eventually, but I've got it for a short period of time. So I'm going to be doing a rather special stack chat, which isn't going to be a normal stack chat. It's going to be the trial of the stack chat, which is a live stream in the style of the trial of the picks, where I'm going to be going through all of my silver bullion and testing it all live in front of you all. So there's no get outs. If anything comes up as fake, you will see it live on the live stream, guys. So make sure you join me for that. And to say thank you to 𝗕𝘂𝘺𝗵𝗿 for loaning me this machine, I am going to make the duck race a little bit more special for that tonight. It's going to be a couple of ounces of silver rather than the standard old coin like a sixpence, etc. I'm going to put quite the bundle together, so make sure you do join me for that. It's going to be a lot of fun, and certainly for you guys. It may not be so much fun for me. I'm going to be very stressed until everything comes back as testing legitimate. And as you can see right there, the self timer has just kicked in and the machine has just turned itself off to save the battery. The batteries do last quite a considerable amount of time on the machine. I've been recording now for around 45 minutes or so, and if I turn it back on so we can have a look, you've got to give it a moment for the machine to warm up. But as you can see, you've still got loads of battery right there. You really have. So I think the batteries on these machines will last up to around 4 hours. So I'll turn it off again right there. And again, if we go back to what we saw at the beginning of the video, I'm just going to pop these pieces of silver just out of the way right there. The great thing about this is this fantastic little padded carry case right here. You see we've got the charger adapter right there, but you can pop that in right there just like that. Look how snug it is, and its little widget, you could probably keep it in there, but it's got a little spot just there like that, and then the wands can go in just there just like that. There's that one right there, and there's that one right there as well. And as I said at the beginning, the brilliant thing about this is you close that up, zip it up, and it is so light, guys. It really is so light. You could so happily and easily carry that round a coin show, and it really wouldn't bother you. So it's fantastic that it's battery powered, and you can take it around with you, and you can test the items as and when you buy them, just to remove all of that data. But with that being the case, I have definitely rabbled on for long enough now. So I'm going to leave you all in the usual fashion by saying, until next time, as usual, look after each other, keep stacking, take care, and goodbye.